Episode 5 of the Phantom F-4B build from Tamiya. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies and welcome to part 5 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale Phantom F-4B build. So let's see, what do we got here? I've laid out all the parts that I've got in my sub-assembly so far. Now I've got the wing section here, it's basically tacked together, the fuselage is tacked. Started working on the horizontal stabiliser. We have the air intakes here, spine still there. This is the tail part which has the hinging for the horizontal stabiliser. Got the engine intakes here which we've just put the wash on. And what I'm going to do is I think I'll clean up the wash a bit, make the details a bit more pronounced. We're going to do that with a touch of enamel thinners, which I've got here, cotton wool bud, and then we'll continue on with the build. So the build's a little bit different to the order. As I've mentioned in a previous build, basically I'm tacking this together and this will go all together by the end of this particular session. Idea of tacking it is so that when all the major components go together, I can make sure that it's fully aligned. But the thing is, the fit is so good already, you probably can just follow the manual. But this is just something that is a default on the way that I build, just to make sure, because big sections can warp when they come out of the mold, and it's also a good way of planning your sub-assemblies for painting and building. Okay, so let's get into just cleaning these up. So I'll move this wing out of the way. Get a bit of my enamel thinners, cotton wool bud, just dip a bit in there. You don't need the cotton bud to be very, very wet. Just needs to have a touch on the surface and it'll take away the excess wash. So what I've done is I washed this the other day on the previous session, and I basically wiped it all the way around, but some of these areas could probably be highlighted. So as we wipe it, it'll take away all the excess black wash. Because black wash should really only be there for the shadows. And so I'm just rubbing back here. Just taking a little bit off, just to give it a bit more definition. These are going to be hidden in the air intakes. They're at the back, right over here. But when you look inside, you'll still be able to see it. So as much definition or contrast you can give it, the more noticeable it will be. So you can see how the tip of that's just come up. And then we'll just do these fan blades around here. And then if you see the end of my bud there, you can see there's quite a bit of pigment that's come off. So that's how easy this works. You can also use this with a brush as well, but it's a lot easier with these cotton wool buds, or Q-tips as they're also known as. So here we go. All right, we'll keep that there in case we need it again. All right, so there you go. There's my engine intakes, quite happy with that. And we'll just glue them onto each end of these. So you see that these haven't been glued in yet, they've just been pressure fit. You've got location points here, so we'll just make sure they get to the right spot for the right orientation. They'll only fit in one way. Okay, so that's a perfect way there. Get some of my glue. And just apply this to glue it all together. Alright, so if we look inside here, I can see the detail. It's very hard to see, but it's nice to be there. Okay, so that one's set. We'll do the next one here. Alright, so again, make sure the orientation is correct. Apply our glue again. Okay, yeah, looks good. Looks nice. Okay, all right, so we've got our two sections there. Now I'll put those back. Go like that. This one will fit in like this. And we'll do a quick test fit again. So this one should go this way. So just see the way that it's, see the gap there, how it fits in place. So there's 3 locating points. And it fits pretty snug. Okay, so that looks good. So you see me, I'll be constantly dry assembling parts just to make sure the fit is nice. Okay, pretty happy with that. Okay, looks pretty good. So all that. All right, so I'm happy with this dry fit. So let's just pull those out again. And we'll glue these intake tubes in place. Okay. Okay, nice. All right, so before we were already up to step 25. So step 25 was building the stabilizer mount. And then we're up to step 26, which is attaching the horizontal stabilizer. Now, before we do that, we'll go back to mounting the wing because that's a large panel. So what I'm going to do is dry assemble all these big parts with some tape, and then we'll start tacking it together. So you might see here, this is still sort of tacked together. Okay, this part here is still separate. So I'll get that all together once I'm happy with the overall fit. Let's move some of these bits of tape out of the way so I don't get jammed in the build with the fuselage. Okay. Just slides in here. Okay, a bit of low-tech masking tape. Quite like this Tamiya stuff, particularly with this dispenser. Makes things a lot easier. Okay, let's just tape it all down together. Okay, then we'll put the air tags back in. So you see how we've got the 2 sections here. We've got the upper fuselage, then we've got the wing. So this point here is where I want to make sure that these air tags fit perfectly. You can just see there where I'm just pressing the joint. It's really, really nice. Okay. So on the side. Just taping in these intakes. Okay, so that's all together. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we're just checking the main wing roots here, the gap. You can see how that's pretty flush. So I'm happy with all this. The tape is holding together these certain areas because there is a little bit of resistance. So I'll just make sure that as I glue it together, we'll make it all straight. And I'll start tacking this all together now. Before I do that, let's just have a quick look at this spine again, because there's a chance that this will actually spread open a little bit when it's all together. And it feels really nice. Okay, we'll put that on a bit later. Okay, I'm going to start tacking now. So I'm going to tack the points where it's going to take a bit of stress. So there's 3 points on the wing root. Now again, I don't want to get too close to this tape because this super thin liquid cement can bleed under tape and then leave all these unsightly marks. Okay, so this part here. There's a little bit of resistance here, so I'm going to get some tape and hold that together as it sets. I've got a feeling the glue may have travelled down here, so let's just pull this off. I'm just giving it a bit of tension here while this sets up, because there's a slight warp, which is quite natural with all model kits, no matter how well engineered they are. And they can pull away. So you can see there was a gap. So it's still pulling to create the gap. So I just got to keep that tension on. Now as it's setting up, I'm going to apply this tape again. Hold it together. Like that pulls it tight as it sets. We'll check that before it's fully cured. Let's do this side. You can see there's a little gap. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to hold it together. Just putting my fingers over there to make sure I've got it flush. Okay, feels pretty good. All right, so I'm going to apply the glue down here as well. All right, feels pretty good. Okay, so top section, basically tacked 3 points here. We'll spend a bit of time to make sure that these intakes are nice and flush. So I've still got a bit of gap here. Got a bit of a squeeze. This side as well. All right, I'm pretty happy with those bits there. All right, so let's concentrate on the bottom here. This panel line across here. Okay, apply a bit of glue. There's a slight bit of tension pulling this away from the joint as well, so I'm going to be taping that. Pull this off. Put it over the joint. Now I'm going to apply some more glue along here. Okay, so it's tensioned. So I do this one as well. Maybe I'll just see what I mean by here. So you notice that once it tapes off, this is actually pulling away a little bit, and there's the gap, and there's a step here. But if I apply a little bit of force here and press it together, the gap's all gone. Okay, and so that's where the tape is going to help that set perfectly. So that sort of illustrates again why I like to build certain things in a particular order, because it allows you to check all these parts and have them all lined together, because each large component influences how everything fits together. Okay, so let's pop that right there. Okay, from here you can sort of see areas that you need to give a little bit of adjustment. That's the beauty of liquid cement too, because it allows you to work in concentrated areas while the rest of it is pretty much together. If you use the thicker glue for this, by the time you apply it everywhere, you won't be able to catch and concentrate on these these perfect fits. Alright, so I think that's pretty good. I think I may have to get a little bit more tape just to encourage it to stay put. And I'm putting some tension on the tape as I'm pulling it across, because loose tape's not going to help at all. Alright, so that feels pretty good. Now this lower panel here, I'll concentrate on that later when all these are cured, and then we can join that together. But in the meantime, so we've pretty much got the tops of the wings to the fuselage joined. There's a little bit that we've done here for these intakes. And just double check that to make sure they're flush. Yep. All right, so we'll concentrate on the back now. Okay, so we've got this section here where it attaches to the rear. And again, we'll just make sure it's really flush. Okay. I think that's looking pretty good. We'll just double check all the joins. This one's just got a little bit of a lip. Okay, pretty happy with that. So we'll put a bit of glue on here as well. Okay, so that's pretty much tacked. Now I'm going to wait until this sets a bit longer, and then we'll glue up all the rest. In the meantime, we'll have a look at how the horizontal stabilizer fits. So this is where we've worked on this earlier, and this is part of section 26, attaching the horizontal stabilizer. So we'll get our little subassemblies here, and this basically is part of the hinging system. So this just presses into here. So you can notice that this is allowing the horizontal stabilizers to move. Okay, so let's just pop that in place. Drops in there. You see how that's a really nice fit, and that's how this will move. So with that design, with the those nylon polycaps in there, it allows the movement to happen. You can see how it's been designed so that all the gap between here is quite minimal. Okay, well, I might as well glue that in place, I think. So again, I'll just tack it. So with tacking, because you're not applying the glue everywhere, if you made a mistake, there's still an opportunity to actually break it without too much damage. So you may have a little bit of a mark where the glue join was. But it's generally quite fixable. Let's see where we're going. And then a bit of glue to finish it off at the back. Now, one of the amazing things about this build is after I put this section in, it's really difficult to see where the actual join line is compared to the panel lines. And I guess that's the whole idea of this engineering, that it goes together and looks seamless. All right, I think that's good. Now, I think we've given enough time for all the rest of it. I'm pretty sure, let's see, I can't remember if we've tacked this wing together. So I might as well do that. I think I was waiting to actually have it connected onto the fuselage before we did any of this. So let's just get it together. Okay, so now I'm just going to do these flaps. Okay, now I'm just going to concentrate on this front lower panel. Just here. Okay, so again I'm paying attention to where components are trying to pull away from. I think there's going to need a little bit of tape to hold it in place. It's not looking too bad, it's just trying to pull back a bit. Okay, let's put on a little bit of tape. All right, so let's have a look at these intakes. Sort of feel pretty good. I think they've taken. All right, so I'm going to take off this tape here now. Okay, we'll take off this stuff as well. Alright, I'll keep those bits on until it sets. Let's take this one off. Okay, feels nice. I'm going to take this one off. This one. It's starting to look like a clean Phantom now. I might as well take the wings off as well. This wing tape. And it's usually safer to take the tape off with your fingers because there's less chances of damaging the plastic surfaces. But you see me using the tweezers too, because on occasion tweezers make it easier to pull it off. Alright, so let's tack together. Now once we have a quick look at it all, if we're happy with how everything has sat and fit, we'll apply glue all across all the major joints. This tape I'm going to keep here for the moment because this is actually guiding this section to be glued straight, and we'll do that last. And then we're going to concentrate on that part there. Okay. for that. So I'm just going to go around these air intakes. I'm basically running glue all the way along the joins to give it the maximum strength. And now the wing root. So I need just a bit of tape here to keep this together. Wing root looks good. So probably just need a little bit more glue here. Okay, looking good. All right, so basically the fuselage was tacked together too, so we'll just make sure that's all together. Being careful not to go over any parts around here, because otherwise this will stop moving because we've glued it together. It's starting to look okay. All right, so I'm pretty sure this is all, it's all glued now. Okay. That's pretty good. There we go. That's pretty much a fuselage with a wing attached. I'm going to do the spine now, so let's just drop that in. And I just want to line it so that we'll get our panel lines nice. Just tape it down in a couple of spots to start with. Okay. We'll start on one end first, so we'll start at the back. Okay. Looking pretty good. All right, spine on. All right, so spine's still tacked at the moment. We'll give that some time to actually cure. And then we'll do all the rest of the glue along there. While that's happening, let's spin it over and concentrate on this front undercarriage section. So this is where I taped it earlier just to hold those sections in place. So the tape can still stay there while we concentrate on the back here. So you see there's the end of that panel. All right, let's just apply some glue. So I just want to make sure that's going to glue flush. Okay, so there's going to be this very tiny gap here, which isn't a problem. We'll just fill that later once it's all complete. We just want to ensure that this part is flush. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of tape there just to tension it tight. Okay, so that's going to hold it flush until it's all cured. Now in the meantime, I'm going to take this tape off the front. Just have a quick check on it. Alright, so that point sort of looks okay. Okay, pretty happy with all this. So again, it's amazing how good the fit is on all these, because I'm having difficulty seeing where the joins are compared to the panel lines. Okay, so we'll leave these bits on here as a curing. The rest of that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so got a cockpit together, spines on, so spine's just curing as well. It's got a few gaps here which I'm going to apply glue to at a later stage. And we'll just see that all the wing roots, so there's no gaps. No gaps here, it's all perfect fit. Around to the tail. This is all working, which is what we want. And everything's basically pulled together. And looking at this, so I'm just looking through the bottom. So as you're looking through here, it's looking pretty true. What you want is that rear horizontal stabilizer to be at about the same level as the wing, so you don't want it all wonky. It's all good. I'll have a look through here. So very nice so far. All right, so we've got the bulk of it done. Now how about we just continue on with step 26. So we've got the tow hook here, and then there's two panels to go into the actual hinges, because this at the moment is a bit flappy. There's the covers across here, and they'll be running towards the end of this session. So let's go over here, B20 and B19. B20 and B19, here we go. And then the tow hook. Let's see if we can locate the tow hook on Q. Okay, so I've got my Q parts. There's a tow hook here. Q10 and Q9. Okay, let's just fit these together. Let's pop this over here. Okay, so we'll glue those two parts together. And you notice I didn't trim the nubs off these, because when these parts are like so, I like to trim these nubs off when it's glued together. It allows that section to be perfectly smooth with very little chances of any gouging. Okay, we'll clean that nub off a little bit later, we'll let that dry. But we'll clean these off. And these we just need a little bit of a sand. Okay, that one there. Okay, so let's do a bit of a fit check. So it's slid in perfectly there. So you notice that the parts have the pin there. That's a hinge that's going into the polycap. And you might have found before that it was feeling a bit loose. It's quite a bit tighter now. You see how that all rotates together. Okay, so let's pop this one in there as well. Okay, nice fit. All right, so we're happy with that. So I'm going to be gluing only the bottom section because the top parts is going to be part of the hinge. You want that to all move. Okay, so just be very careful when we're doing that. Okay, same over here. Okay, so they're still moving. It's nice. This glue hasn't quite cured yet. Might just one more drop. Just in the center there. This one's looking okay. So you see that's how it's attached to this horizontal stabilizer and it's moving. This one just needs to cure. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Now let's pay a bit of attention to this tow hook. Just going to trim this knob off. Gentle scrape. So basically I'm just scraping away the mold line. Every kit's going to have a mold line. Now the mold line is basically where two parts of the mold join together, and where they join there's always going to be a slight line there where the plastic will seep through. You see I'm just gently scraping that off. Basically scraping it off because the real model's not going to have this on there. This ends up looking more realistic if you've got it off. Okay, so there's our tow hook, and that just gets attached to this end here. There we go. Alright, so we'll glue that in there. We'll just make sure that it's aligned straight, because as you can see there's always a bit of movement with some parts like this. Applied here first because that's where it's anchored. It's got a locating pin there. And once that's in place, it'll give you just that little bit of resistance so you can actually locate this perfectly. So you can glue it dead straight. bit of adjustment. So I've just noticed that I've left some nubs here, which I didn't clean up before. So let's quickly get rid of those. Okay, that's better. Let's pop that back in there. All right. Okay, I think I'm quite happy with that. All right, so we've still got this section here. So that's flush. I think that's cured now, so let's just pull this off. All right, so that's nice and smooth. Over here, I've got this bit of tape as well. Pull that off. That's pretty good. All right, just double check that. It's all rotating. Those top panels are moving. Okay, so here we go. It's looking much more like a Phantom now. Okay, so thank you for joining me for episode 5 of the Phantom F-4B build from Tamiya. Got pretty much most of the fuselage put together now. What we've got left is, I've got a few of these nubs which I've left here during the tacking stage, so we'll be cleaning those off, and then we'll be doing the engine nozzles and continuing on with the rest of the build, which I think is just a little bit more. So there we go. So look forward to seeing you next time round, and if you have any questions about what I've done so far, please put them in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So thank you again.